welcome everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the press. People say that European summits are dull and boring, but we do our best in UKIP to try and liven things up a little bit. Now, as you know, football championships are going on, but also the real battle that's going on is between the countries that have been bailed out and are looking for rather less austerity, and on the other side, the other team, in the sense of this game, we of course have the European institutions plus Germany. Now, this is supposed to be an even contest, but if you have a look at the goals, you'll see that the PIIGS goal over there is a normal sized goal. However, if you look over here, we believe that symbolises the German goal. So it's fairly obvious to us that this is not actually going to be an even contest, and that actually the German view, the harsh view, is the view that's going to win, and that the PIIGS are going to suffer even more. I might be wrong, you never know, we'll see how the game goes. Perhaps the PIIGS will win, I rather doubt it. Let battle commence. Thank you.
Bonne chance. Bonne chance. Good luck.
Well, on the one hand, we've got the countries that have been bailed out and have been put under harsh austerity measures, and on the other, we've got the European institutions and Germany. And what you'll notice is that one goal, the PIIGS goal, is quite big, and the European institutions and German goal is very, very small. And what that shows is this is a game in every sense, on equal sides. We've got southern countries screaming out for help, screaming out for austerity measures to be scrapped, screaming out for a debt union and for Eurobonds, and on the other we've got Germany dominating proceedings, making it clear that that isn't going to happen. And our view is that all 27 heads of state in that building behind us are actually all doing the wrong thing. They are all trying to keep the euro propped up, when actually it would be better to recognise that some of those southern European states ought to leave and get their own currency back. Well, I like the teams that have flags on their shirts of their own nations, because that's the kind of Europe that I want to live in. A Europe of nation states where we trade together and cooperate together. And the other team are all wearing that horrible European Union flag, and they have a German boss who is now the paymaster and who is now in charge. And I think what this game behind me symbolises is the fact we're now living in a German-dominated Europe, and that these countries that have been bailed out have effectively become debt slaves. They're being driven through economic policies into total economic disaster. And frankly, it's a totally uneven contest.
But do you think that the team with the national flag still have a chance to win?
They do. They should never, most of them should never have joined the euro in the first place. They find themselves with a currency that is massively overvalued for where they are in their current economic cycle. We see youth unemployment rates of over 50% in some of these countries. We see despair. We see violence on the streets. The euro is a disaster for these countries, and yet there's a summit going on with 27 heads of state doing everything they can to keep these countries trapped inside the economic prison of the euro. And what we would like to do is to see them break free.
Do you find anything from yesterday evening or today morning useful or as a step forward?
Listen, this is a slow motion car crash. You know, every now and again a statement's made. This is the 19th summit we've had in the last 2.5 years. At every single summit, Mr. Barroso gets up and says this is an historic agreement, and the markets believe it for 5 hours, and then everybody realises that the problems they're facing are huge. So no, this has made no difference at all.
Why the goals here at the playground are so different?
Well, this is the point. This is the point, that we have a normal-sized goal at one end, and that's the goal that the nation-states have, and at the other end we have a tiny little goal, and that's the goal that Germany is defending. And what it shows is, and what it symbolises is, Germany is in charge, the odds are stacked massively in Germany's favour, they will win.
Okay.
much, really. I mean, perhaps in some ways they gradually inch forwards, but the reality is between the north and the south, between the German position, which is that the austerity measures have to stay in place, the southern position, which is that austerity is killing them, and what we're symbolising with this football game behind me is that actually it's the German position and the European institutions that are actually going to win this, and that really these Eurozone countries in the south are trapped in something that is leading them to total, utter economic disaster. And that our view, still very strongly, is that all 27 heads of state in that room are trying to do the wrong thing. They're trying to keep together something that doesn't work. It's been a misconstruction from the start, and the sooner we recognise that some of those countries need to leave the euro, the better it will be for everybody.
Were you surprised that Merkel's softening of her position?
I think it's such a marginal softening. You know, I mean, look, we have not moved directly towards a debt union. We've not moved towards Eurobonds. You know, maybe she's appearing to be mildly conciliatory, but in reality she's given nothing away at all, and she isn't going to. The Commission don't play by the rules, do they? Bailed out and are suffering from harsh austerity terms. On the other, we have the European institutions utterly dominated by the big German boss. And if you look at this pitch behind me, you'll see that the goal, the PIIGS have as a normal-sized goal, but the goal that Germany is looking after is an absolutely tiny goal. And what that shows is this is a completely unequal contest in every sense, that ultimately it's the German solution that will win, and that those southern Mediterranean countries that have been bailed out and are suffering from terrible economic circumstances are actually going to be ruined unless we change course and recognise that really what we want to do is leave the euro and get their currencies back.
So what do you want to show with this?
We want to show with this that it is a completely unequal contest, and that in the end, these countries that have been bailed out, frankly, have now become debt slaves. They're not in charge of their own destiny. It's the big bosses that are in charge, and it's no surprise that as this game is going on, I can report that it is the European institutions in Germany that are in the lead 3-0.
First of all, what are you doing behind you here?
It's a football game. It's the bailed out countries against the European institutions led by Germany. And what we're pointing out is that actually this is a very unequal game. Countries like Greece are trapped now inside the wrong currency with youth unemployment rates of over 50%, growing violence on the streets. And here we are at a summit with 27 heads of state, including David Cameron, doing everything they can to keep Greece and others trapped inside the Eurozone. And our message is these guys can never, ever win. They've got to be set free. The sooner we break up the euro, the better it will be.
The Italians used the footballing analogy last night. They said it was a terrible celebration. What do you think of that? And also, how much of a celebration is it for the Italians?
Well, the football's a big celebration for the Italians, and they played jolly well, and I watched the game and thoroughly enjoyed it, so good luck to them. Just makes you think, doesn't it? We kept a clean sheet against them for 120 minutes. No. Great on that score. On the other hand, remember, Italy is a country whose elected Prime Minister was removed by the bully boys from Brussels, replaced with a puppet. That puppet is now in trouble, possibly going to lose a vote of confidence in Rome, and what he's come back from the summit with are some tiny concessions. Nothing that happened last night at this summit does anything to deal with the fact that there is a massive looming debt crisis in Europe, that there isn't simply enough money to bail out these countries if they go over the course of the summer, and that with rising unemployment and falling growth, these countries shouldn't be in the euro at all.
So we did get some wriggle room from the Germans. Maybe just put into a context there. was a bigger solution than they thought they were going to get. But how much does this sort of deal with the systemic problems that we've been dealing with in the last sort of few months and years?
Look, this is the 19th summit that David Cameron has been to since he was elected Prime Minister. Every time Mr Barroso from the European Commission gets up and says we have an historic agreement, the markets believe it for half a morning, and then they confront the reality that actually, if over the course of the summer the markets lose total confidence in Spain and in Italy, we haven't got the money to bail these countries out, and that we've got people like Greece with youth unemployment of 50%, violence growing on the streets. The Eurozone crisis is now insoluble, because even if they do push to a full fiscal union, the voters of Northern Europe will overwhelmingly reject it. So I'm in no doubt at all that Greece will leave the euro before long, and it will be followed by other countries too.
Okay boys, the match is over. Final score for the dead slaves of Portugal, Spain, Ireland, Greece and Italy. We have 0 goals, and to the European Commission and the German taxpayer we have 13.
And may I say, what a good fair game.
Yeah, it was very fair.